Hello, I'm ShieldWall100 and welcome back to my channel for another Batman miniatures game report. Today we're going to be having a familiar yet different take on things, as I take the two most commonly used probably in my reports crews, Batman and the Joker, but I'm going to be using two very different styles of play today for both of them. For the Batman crew, I'm using the death metal Batman model as the leader, which should shake things up nicely. I covered him in a quick critique before, and I think he's kind of cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And even more radically, I'm going with the new 3 Jokers box set for the Joker crew. Really try out some of their new models, see how they affect the way the deck scores, and what craziness it gets onto. Okay, well, that's that. As you can see, we're playing in amongst Ace Chemicals. We're better for a showdown with the Joker anyway, and yeah, I'm going to get on with telling you who's in which crew now. Okay, here we go. And here we go with the least stealthy version of Batman, I think, in the game, with strumming a massive electric death guitar. And yeah, here we are. Looking forward to using this guy, like I just said. He brings a whole bunch of different things, not quite as mobile as usual Batman, but nonetheless is still a Batman with all the stats and the damage dealing capacity as you would expect. He's also quite tough, has a whole host, a little suite of buffs for his crew and all that sort of thing. So yeah, here we go, a bunch of policemen, as you can see, and Nightwing as today's sidekick. Haven't used this version of Nightwing yet and have been very much looking forward to doing so as well. So really wanted to use this as an excuse to take the models I wanted to. Only 6 models in the crew. As you can see, we've got Officer Merkel and the GCPD detective. They're both solid. I've got Agent 2 from the Dark Knight Rises box set, just as filler, really, to be honest. Had some points left. And we've gone with, well, his Lorida. He's actually the alpha model from the original SWAT team. He's in metal, but you try getting hold of Lorida these days, because I certainly can't. And if you do, then send in to me. Haha. But yeah, it's still the same. It's pretty much the same pose. It's the same model of SWAT. One was just an upgrade to the other. So I'm using him as Lorida, the SWAT officer, just here. There you go. That's him. And yeah, there we are. Here's a nice little Batman crew. Only 6 models, like I said, so that might be a bit of a handicap. Especially this Batman is quite a good one for buffing his crew members, so might not quite get as much out of that with a smaller crew, of course, since there's less things to buff. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm confident that the Batman crew deck will be a good one to serve scores, even with lower model counts. It seems to do all right usually. I have modified the deck somewhat, taken some cards out which really wouldn't suit the crew, but put in some others, so things like Die Hard and Valuable Commodities are in there. But yeah, that's that. I think I'll move on. There's some purchased equipment throughout the crew. On the henchmen, I think Lorida there's got a grapple gun. There's also some bits and pieces like helmets and whatnot throughout. And yeah, that's that. I'm going to go on now to the Joker crew. Well, there's some familiar faces and some brand new ones, or some, well, similar faces on brand new models, as it is. In this crew, headed up by the 3 Jokers from the titular comic book of the same name. So there we are. As you can see, we've got Joker the criminal. I think that's the the comedian, yes, and there's the clown over there. Pardon the jerky movements of the camera, but yes, this is another good opportunity to try out new models, as you can see. So we're going with we've got the 1, 2, and 3 Joker's victims there. I've only got 3 because I only bought 1 blister, but near to you, I'm sure that'll be enough. I've got 2 of the 3 Joker's Paramilitary. The dude with the rocket launcher just didn't quite make it in today, but we have made sure to make use of the other 2, as you can see at the back there. Stan the Eyeball Man is another good mainstay in my crew lists. I do like him. Assault weapons are always useful. 2 of the 2 more clowns that I use, actually generic thug with chainsaw, and this guy, Hobo Clown. I don't think I have used him that much. He's very much filler. Yeah, it was him or Gaggy, and I haven't painted Gaggy, so yeah, Gaggy is not in the Gaggy that accompanies this release. I must apologise, but I do have some standards, not unpainted models. And finally, ace of spades, just to get that. He's a tough for a henchman, especially a Joker henchman, and he does the Joker's gas special to get that poison elevating out there on the board. Damned useful. Okay, so yes, a 12 model crew, which is something breaking a rule of mine for battle reports. It can make them tend to run long, but since we've only got 6 models in the other crew, and 3 of these guys are Joker's victims, I made an exception. Generally speaking, Joker crews tend to be kind of squishy when it comes to henchmen anyway, so the game will probably start speeding up as it continues anyway. And as we all know, I've played these crews plenty, so I'm not going to be dwelling on what the objective cards do. We've all, if you've picked up my battle reports before, we'll all know what the objective cards do as I play them. So there we go. That should speed things up nicely anyway. But yeah, there we go. Any equipment that comes to light, I will let people know as it goes, because it has escaped me briefly, but I don't think there's anything ground shattering in there. Plenty of guns and chainsaws to take up the funding anyway. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get on to deployment and whatnot on the board. Okay, deployment completed. I can quickly show you that we drew Vanguard for the deployment zone, so nice 12-inch corners of the table with one friendly model up to 4 inches outside the deployment zone. So we'll start with Joker, and it's a very straightforward sort of swarm-based approach. I think we've got Joker the Clown going this way, the other 2 Jokers heading this way. The boss is Joker the Criminal. It just seemed right to me. The guy who's chosen to go a little bit forwards is this member of the Joker's Paramilitary. He does have a grapple gun. Actually, no, he doesn't. So he's got clown paint. So I went with grapple gun originally. He doesn't have it anymore, but he can nonetheless crawl across and into higher ground with his decent weapon anyway. And yeah, that's basically it. Unfortunately, the Joker's crew only has like the one sewer marker available. Most of the things got most of the utilities, the light sources and sewer markers got put down elsewhere on the board, because you determine where they go before you work out who's deploying where. So that's kind of just the way the cookie crumbles sometime, and Batman won the choice of deployment zone, so he forced the Joker to have a deployment zone, say, over here. Yeah, so moving back though, go to the Batman crew. Excuse me, in my games room. Batman chose to go a bit further forwards with his guitar, and he's pretty cool there. So yeah, he's pretty chill in the middle there. He's going to be inspiring all of his policeman friends, so Agent 2, Lorida there, Officer Merkel, and the hidden rule applies to the GCPD detective, so he can go anywhere on the board that's out of sight. He chose to be a little bit more cautious this time, gets killed quite often by being put too far forwards, and yeah, he's just going to go still within inspire range over here. Okay, Nightwing for his part is off the board in the shadows, waiting to pounce at some point during the game when a suspect marker is placed. And I think that concludes deployment. Okay, we're ready to go into turn number 1 of the yeah, get some things on the board. Okay, the take the lead and raise the plan phases for the first turn are both now completed. Yes, for the initiative phase, take the lead, that is the Batman crew won, and so they'll be going first this turn. In the second phase, the Batman crew played Unveiling the Truth as an objective card. It's played now and revealed at the end, and they chose the GCPD detective here to be the person trying to unveil that truth. So there you go. Let's see now what else. Oh yes, in terms of audacity, the Joker crew over there did not have to reveal who's got audacity at all, because they all have the Chaos Agent stroke trickster trait shenanigans going on. Meanwhile, with the Batman crew, I did have to. We went with Batman himself, of course, Lorida, and the GCP detective as well. Finally, Nightwing has audacity. Don't forget he's off the board, like I just said. And that's that, I think. We're going to move on to actual model activations now. Time for the Batman crew to have the initiative. Batman crew kicked into action, didn't want to use its mountain of pass markers. It has 6, you count them, 6 pass markers, because they're outnumbered 12 models to 6. So yeah, they have 6 pass markers. They didn't use one though. GCPD detective went first. He was over here. He had audacity and was also inspired by the Batman's guitar presence, which is cool. He used his detective ability to pop down a suspect marker, and then used his sorry, yeah, he used his detect ability to put it down within 3 inches, so he popped it on the edge of the board, although he didn't really need to, now come to think of it. He put it down here. He then revealed it with his own tactical action, and when he did, he played valuable commodities from the hand for 3 points. We've seen that loads of times before. There's the loot, it's going on his character card, so he is carrying the loot. Okay, having done so, he also managed to get Unveiling the Truth to score straight away in the very first action of the turn. That's a bit of a record for me, I think, maybe. Yeah, so there you go, 2 points for that because he revealed a suspect marker. It doesn't have to be an enemy one, still counts. So an instant 2 point scored for the Batman crew. Very, very profitable potential turn there. Potential 5 victory points already. God, well, setting the pace. Right, over to the Joker crew. Well, Joker also kicking off in style with one of his bloodthirsty paramilitary men activating, moving forward from there. Didn't need audacity to put down a suspect mark, and as you can see, tis a stinky fish with it doesn't look fresh. There's the text, and there you go. Stinky fish on the board. Hey, we love them. Well, Joker loves them. Okay, back to Batman. Again, opting not to use a pass, the Batman crew activated Officer Merkel, who moved out of his deployment zone, popped down a suspect marker with his inspiration granted manipulate action, and that concluded his activation. We're getting through it quickly. Back to the Joker. Well, the Joker crew activated this henchman and once again did not opt to take audacity, was just happy enough moving forwards, popping down a suspect marker, and it's another specialist one. You can see it's Bite the Dust was played for 2 victory points if those teeth explode at the end of their countdown, and well, we'll see if they damage anyone when they explode at the end of their countdown, more to the point. Okay, right, well, that's that. Back to the Bats. Agent 2 likewise had a fairly quiet activation by comparative standards to what's probably to come. He just activated, moved forward with his inspiration based manipulate action, popped down another suspect marker. So that's 2 suspect markers within 2 inches of the board edge for the Batman crew. What do you think they might have in their objective hand? Answers on a postcard, please. Right, that's that. We're going to go back to the Joker. Joker the comedian activated next, and he popped himself forward. He did pinch one of the audacity markers that his crew can use, and so using the special action I Am Chaos, he was able to cycle his deck somewhat, hopefully to get something a bit more scoreable for the Joker in the short term. And also yeah, he also actually had a quick peek at the Batman crew, so now I can sort of treat it as if they know what's in there for the time being. Although probably this range of the models being apart, then it probably won't make much difference at this stage. But that's that really for him, and yeah, he couldn't put down a suspect marker because there was already one nearby, and the teeth moved over to join him. So there we go, and that's that. Wild Stallion's Batman activated next, and he decided to have a nice stately move up here into base contact with the lamppost, which he used to juice himself up by manipulating it with his tactical action, and putting himself up to 5 what they called power supply counters. I can't remember exactly. Power counters, sorry, there we go, power counters, which he can use to buff various things about his person over the course of the game on a one use by one use basis. Cool. He does inspire himself because he is one of the boys, so he also popped himself down a suspect marker and all. And he acted with his special action. He used he increased the tempo to increase the range of his legendary solo. It means his inspiration range increases to a massive 12-inch bubble, which means yeah, that's good. And that inspiration range is both beneficial, extra beneficial for friendly models, and also pretty bad for enemies. It means they can't be inspired by their boss unless they put an effort in to do so, which is nasty. But that concludes his activation. He's given himself some good buffs for the rest of the game. Probably time to start marauding, hopefully soon. One of the Joker's victims went next, the one with the pipe, and he just moved forwards, can't manipulate, can't do anything, unfortunately, well, because he's stupid, and well, it's 5 points, so what do you expect? So that concluded his movement, having done that, and he then the teeth chattered towards him and exploded because they were on their last turn. They hit him easily, and that damaged him for 1 point of blood, but scored the 2 points for the Joker's crew, as is what was the idea all along, and yeah, that's that. that. Both sides then had to discard a card from their hand as per the rules of the card, and yeah, that's that. Both sides have now scored 2 points so far. Swat Officer Lorida was up next, and he was down here originally. He had a grapple gun though. He used his audacity to get the special action and the movement action together in order to move all the way up here. Gives him a good position to start opening fire and covering in future turns. Had his manipulate action spare, so he popped down a suspect marker behind him, and that concluded his activation. Interesting, no snitches for the Batman crew this time. Unfortunate for them, right? But hey, that's that. Going to move on to the Joker. Okay, activations are starting to get very short at the moment, so I'm going to start merging them together. This Joker's victim activated. He popped himself along here, and that finished his activation. That's all he could do. Batman crew decided then to use one of their 6 passes. So that's that. Ace of Spades activated for Joker from back here. He took one of the remaining audacity counters. He moved into contact with this sewer marker here. He then used his inspiration-born manipulate action to pop himself through it, and over here he then activated Joker's gas to inflict enervating 1 and poison level 1 on both GCP Detective and Officer Merkel, because they're both just within 4 inches when he did so. Hardcore. And then finally uses his tactical action to pop down a suspect marker again and let them in on the joke for 2 points for the Joker crew. Okay, nice. And yeah, so Joker free-forming, wheeler dealing and scoring easily at the moment. Stan the Eyeball Man activated, and he also took another audacity marker, but first I should say that the Batman crew used another pass beforehand. Sorry, should have mentioned that, otherwise it gets a bit confusing. Yes, Stan the Eyeball Man after that took an audacity, moved through the sewer marker, much the same as Ace of Spades did just before him, and then used his tactical action instead of putting down a sus marker to open fire on the GCPD detective with his gun. The fact that he's got his OCD and his but he does have, what's the word, it means he gets +1 to hit, but unfortunately the fact that his assault was -1 meant that 4 hits altogether were scored, and the fact that the GCPD detective has a helmet, which means he has the hardened rule, so he converted 1 of the blood damage to stun there. So 3 points of blood, 1 point as stun. No cards scored as a result of that activation, but a lot of damage done on an already poisoned individual, so pretty nasty. Right, that's that. Back to Batman. The Batman crew passed once again, leaves them with 3 at this point. Hobo Clown activated, popped himself up here, and then was inspired to put down another suspect marker. And it's another bite the dust that's come out of the hand, since there's still plenty of models around here to to activate and hopefully get exploded and score the points for them. But look, it's Nightwing has arrived. So what happens is once that sus marker's put down, he then revealed himself. He's been here all along, sneaky devil. And yes, these 2 enemy henchmen are enervated to the power of 1. And that's that. Over to the Batman crew. Maybe Nightwing will now reveal his secrets. Yes, and Nightwing did go next. Oh, he should be in base contact. There we are. And yeah, he activated from around the corner over here, and he sprinted round. He has ample movement into contact with the criminal of the 3 Jokers. Judging that this guy was probably the most imminent threat, considering he has a Thompson, which is very hard-hitting weapon. Even with his dodge, it could do some serious damage, and is also the boss of the enemy crew. So he actually took him out in one go. Both sides efforted to the maximum, but thanks to Nightwing's combo with his sticks, it was enough to do 8 points of stun damage plus the 3 that were already on there. Well, there you go, a KO'd clown. Criminal, that is. And there you go, that's it. He didn't have any cards to score from that, and that was it, but not too bad. That's the enemy boss out for the count, but not out of the game, not yet at least. Joker the Clown activated. Whilst he was standing over here, he attacked Nightwing. He took the last point of audacity for the Joker's crew this turn, and so he used his tactical action to attack with his razor sharp playing cards from about a couple of inches away. He put in maximum effort and caused 3 points of blood damage, which could have been so much more. Those cards are nasty, as it turns out. Nightwing didn't put any effort in to defend himself, you see, but 3 points of blood damage is 3 points of blood damage. He then moved himself into contact with this sewer marker for future use, I expect. He then used his special on the set of teeth which have moved towards them over here to reduce its countdown by 1 and move it. Oh, sorry, he's actually just going to move it over here and pop its countdown to 1 in the hope that it will come back a bit this way and explode. In fact, let's do that now. Drum roll. It's moving 5 inches. Oh, I need a tape measure. I did not think this through. Excuse me, using my teeth. Isn't this exciting? This is why I don't do things live. So it's coming back 5 inches, which is just about there next to that. Sorry, this is not how I normally do this. It goes there. It goes there. That's why I've calculated it. Get the template. Oh man, I'm so organised. It explodes or I can't fit the template. That hits just there. I don't think it's going to hit anyone, I think. Hang on, I'm going to do this by looking with my eyes. Now, I'm going to have to move the building, aren't I? Gordon Bennett. It's actually landed directly in between everyone. That is just unlucky. Oh well. But that was the calculated risk. Anything but a 5 would have actually hit someone, unfortunately. So yes, unfortunately Bite the Dust does not score the card, and that suspect marker is removed. I now need to put everything back. But yeah, sorry, get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. I thought it was going to hit Nightwing, you see, but I miscalculated. And yeah, that's it then. Okay, we're going to carry on now. Back to, well, it's just Joker Crew actions to relate now. How organised am I? Yeah, so as I said, just rounding off Joker Crew's turn now. This Paramilitary moved across here, across the ladder that has fallen down at least 4 or 5 times since I started turn 1 because it's so rickety. And yeah, so he boldly moved across it onto here. He couldn't shoot because there's no audacity left in the Joker Crew's side, but he has got a decent position up here to open fire next turn. The final Joker's victim then took the last activation, moved into contact with Nightwing, and because of his mindless monster trait, I think it is, he gets to attack. So yeah, because it's a freebie attack if he finishes a movement action in contact with an enemy model, kind of a zombie kind of rule, and that's what he did. He attacked and he actually managed to get a 6 on the strength die. So Nightwing took 1 point of blood from the knife and got knocked down for his trouble. So not a wasted activation by any means at all. Right. That concludes the turn's activations. There's nothing else anyone can do in terms of movement around. It's been kind of dynamic, but we are very well set up and poised for the next turn. Going to go to the recount phase now, some important things to look up and see who scored what. And the recount phase is complete. So with some disappointment, the Batman crew can reveal that Joker the Clown came round from being unconscious. He is now just knocked down. In terms of models being poisoned, both the GCP detective and Officer Merkel did not do so well, suffering a point of blood damage apiece as they failed their roles. For points scoring, the Joker's crew's fish over there didn't get molested, so it doesn't look fresh. Scores for 2 points for the Joker. They're doing really well. And as was proven earlier, as was postulated earlier, secure the perimeter was indeed in the hand for the GCPD crew, and so 2 points. This suspect markers both being picked up in order to satisfy those requirements. But yes, 2 needed points for the Batman crew. Okay, we're going to go into turn two now. Get on with it, where I'm sure things are about to start getting a bit more brutal. Well, lots to talk about now. Okay, first of all, Take the Lead phase happened in turn number 1, and both sides had a card to play. The Batman crew played Die Hard. There we go, seen this many times, and they chose Lorida to be the one who has to survive the turn. For the Joker crew's part, they played Let's Dance, a very good card in the current circumstances, given that they got 3 leaders on the board. And yeah, so there you go, 2 points if one of them gets hit. And so the Batman crew easily won the initiative, having had 3 passes left over at the end of the last turn. So yeah, they got the +3 on the die roll, so there you go. Into the Audacity phase, Unveiling the Truth was played for 2 points, and yeah, it's going to be going with Batman this time, so it's going to stay on him until he manages to score it. Hopefully he does, maybe he doesn't, well, we'll see. He's got plenty more manipulate actions, this version of Batman, so it's not such a drag on him having that. Okay, that's that. Reveal who got Audacity. Of course, Joker crew doesn't have to reveal, which is of great benefit for them, but for the Batman crew they went with Nightwing, of course. The 2 policemen down here detective and Officer Merkel respectively, and the Batman himself, of course. Okay, Lorida and the agent being left without, but we'll see how that works out for them. Okay, we're going to go into activations now. Batman crew to take the first go. Well, there was a huge amount of choice, to be perfectly honest, about what was going to happen this turn, and so yeah, the GCPD detective activated first, and he picked up. He first of all he shot with his automatic gun at Stan the Eyeball Man, played non-lethal ammunition as a objective card, which meant that all the stun became double. All the blood damage became stun damage, and proceeded to hit with every single die, of course, for just to hammer it home, knocking out Stan the Eyeball Man. He has audacity, as you can see. He moved up. He then used his special action to arrest Stan the Eyeball Man, so he's gone. And finally, he's inspired still by Batman, who's playing that amazing solo for the extended inspiration range, and so he's actually going to reveal this suspect marker for funsies, and that's that for the Batman crew. 2 points scored straight away, a model down from the Joker, and yeah, there we are. Okay, moving to Joker the Clown now, but just quickly, forgot to mention, once Stan the Eyeball Man was knocked out, You're Expendable was scored by the Joker crew for 1 point there, just to let you know that. Forgot to say it, sorry. Right, Joker the Clown, he activated, he was over here. He really needed to get away from Nightwing before he got KO'd again. Being the boss, he really needed to get into to be able to inspire some of his henchmen as well, so had some decisions to make. I can't advise that enough. He stood up for his movement action, and he could have stayed put and knifed Nightwing and almost certainly killed him, which would have been great. Doesn't score any points though, and he, like I said, really needs to get into inspiration range of his crew before they run away from him, and therefore those 4 points of audacity really start causing problems. So in terms of not having actions anywhere else. So yes, he opted to use his remaining move to move around here, which meant he could no longer see Nightwing, couldn't even shoot him with the Tommy gun. But he did put down a suspect marker. He was just able to be 2 inches outside of his deployment zone. Let them in on the joke for another 2 points. So he's got his eyes on the scoring prize, shall we say. It's disappointing. Really could have done with killing Nightwing. Nightwing's a very powerful model lever around, but went for the scores instead. Hopefully that won't bite us on the bum later. It will also probably help him to make better use of his crew as the game progresses. Well, realising the danger he was in, Nightwing activated next, and he jumped up from down here, and he's got some bloody good rules. He's got always on the move, which meant he could move around here and knock out the Clown quite easily once again, without any effort put in by either side possible. Well, not by the Joker either, and not by Nightwing desirably, and so knocked him out easy. He then used his Vigilante's work to get take an effort there to pop himself to take off that suspect marker. He can get a free manipulate by doing so. He'd activated his back claw, sorry, forgot to mention that as well, and so yeah, he popped himself up here with his remaining movement out of sight of most of the Joker crew, certainly the ones with the ones who can probably reach him to mete out some punishment on him, this guy accepted perhaps. But having taken off that suspect marker with a reveal action, he played Comb Through Everything for 2 lovely points, and pretty successful, another successful turn for Nightwing, and the Clown is getting used to being KO'd. The criminal, sorry. Ace of Spades acted next for Joker. He popped down a suspect marker and then moved into base contact with Officer Merkel, which is a smart move because that means Merkel won't be able to shoot him. However, so there you go. Yes, he used his Joker's gas once again to inflict Enervating and Poison level 2 on each of the 2 cops again. So yeah, pretty good altogether, I'd say. Let's move back to the Batman crew's turn. A fairly disappointing activation for Lorida. He did shoot at his counterpart across the way. Only hit twice though, despite having only needing 2s to do so. 2 points of blood damage per hit though, and this guy is on the teetering on the verge of being removed off the board. For the Joker crew's part, they used a resource on psychopaths there to put a couple of attack markers on Joker the Clown there with his dangerous cards. So there you go, and that concludes Lorida's activation. Back to Joker. Well, the Clown stayed in the spotlight, so he activated next. He was over here. He first of all manipulated the sewer marker to pop himself a bit more central, Okay, just to give an idea. Sorry about the. Well, that was a bit sudden. Sorry about that. The jerky movement there. But yeah, he was there. He then used his special action on the exploding tooth over here, which had actually jetted up. It was here. It was over here, having moved up in the last turn, and then he moved it back into base contact with the cop. He then reduced it down to 0 on its activations, so it exploded it straight away, doing 1 point damage to the cop, which scores Bite the Dust for 2 points. That did actually finish GCPD Detective off, so Seasoning the Mix was also played from the hand. Well, it was actually the only card played from the hand this turn, which is why it can be done. 2 points because they killed him and he was infected with poison, so off you go, you lot. Big gap there now, so 4 points scored there for the Joker crew, all because of this guy's special rule there. It's pretty there. That Joker the Clown is incredibly useful, as it turns out, for scoring cards in your deck. It just takes that little bit of annoyance off of the teeth most of the time, disappearing off into the distance or something. So yeah, that's pretty cool. He is now done. He has nothing left to do. Death Metal Batman strode up from over here, but first he used his inspiration-based manipulation to pick up this suspect marker and score Unveiling the Truth, because got 2 markers on there and there's only 1 Joker suspect marker. It's the Stinky Fish all the way over there, still in play at the moment, because the Joker keeps exploding his own markers. So yeah, that was it's proving easy to score those ones right now. Oh well, never mind, can't do much about that, I guess, after the fact. He then moved up and just smacked the Joker the Clown over the head with his guitar. So yeah, there you go. It actually was a really disappointing roll for him. He used one of his power counters to make it so that the Joker would need to put in 2 get 2 successful blocks to block any 1 hit, and it's like the fact that it's overwhelming means I think the Joker only blocks on 6s, but as it was, only 3 hits got through, but that was sufficient. They were all through, and Joker is knocked out. Don't forget he had some stun markers on him from last turn when he put effort in, so there you go. That concludes Batman's activation. Scored 2 points and knocked out one of the 3 Jokers. That's 2 of the 3 Jokers currently KO'd. One of the generic thug, which I've made up to be a Joker clown, with the chainsaw activated next. He was in inspiration range of the albeit knocked out, don't need that anymore, Joker the Clown. He moved up here and popped down a suspect marker without needing audacity to do so, and that concluded his activation. And from down here, Officer Merkel struck. He had audacity. He wasn't inspired, but he didn't need to be this time. He was down here where this big gap is. He moved. He picked up the valuable commodities which the GCPD detective had unfortunately died guarding, and then moved to the sewer marker. Manipulating that, he popped over to here into base contact with Joker's the Clown's unconscious form, and then used his special action to arrest him, picking him up off the board. Nasty stuff. And get them off the streets. Obviously then came out of the hand for 3 lovely points for the Batman crew. So yes, another successful round. Officer Merkel doing his thing. And back to the Joker's crew. They're down to the 2 Jokers. 1.5 Jokers, because one's currently unconscious. The Joker's Paramilitary with the Kukri moved up next, and there was some giggling heard as he moved up and revealed the objective that was just put down by Chainsaw Thug. Let them do their thing came out of the hand for 2 points. We've seen that before. It jetted, the suspect marker jetted off over here as a set of exploding teeth and detonated next to Merkel, doing 2 points of damage to him and scoring 2 points for the Joker. So that concludes this activation, and on to the next one. And the Batman crew had another go, and realising that sitting next to sewer markers is actually really dangerous after what happened to Joker the Clown over there, Agent 2 moved up over here. He was inspired by the Batman, so he popped down a suspect marker, and as you might be able to see, he made it into a snitch. Hurrah! The first time a snitch came out of the hand. And we've seen that 100 billion times before. So yeah, that's that. 3 points if that stays unmolested. Okay, that concludes all of the Batman crew's activations for this turn. We're going to just finish off with all the Jokers now and see what they can do. Okay, I've actually finished off all of the Joker crew's moves. There's been quite a lot, but nothing was scored, unfortunately, so there was no cause for pause. Some things did happen, though. So a whole bunch of Joker's victims moved up. The hobo clown moved up, as you can see. Let's see, oh yeah, the last one moved up next to Joker the criminal's unconscious form. This paramilitary Joker here activated and shot at Nightwing. The cover and Nightwing everything 3 times though reduced them to 0 dice, so no dice to roll, but Nightwing had to expend an awful lot of effort dodging those bullets. Finally, Joker the comedian activated. He took an audacity counter, he moved up and then used I Am Chaos to recycle his deck somewhat, again to no effect, nothing that could be scored during the remainder of the turn with the models available, but he also able to take a couple of potentially good scoring cards out of the Batman crew's deck, another Unveiling the Truth, and get them off the streets. Took them out of the hand, sorry, so you know, of course they'll be shuffled back in, but I just wanted to do it to see how the thing worked. That's a potentially really powerful trait. These 3 Jokers, yeah, if you get decent synergy out of them with the way the game, you know, goes and stuff, then you can really start influencing. It's great stuff. But that concludes both crews now in terms of activations, and we're going to go to the recount phase for turn 2. Okay, recount phase done. Let's reveal some stuff. So Merkel succumbed to the poison again, taking another point of blood damage. So he's got 3 points of endurance remaining, and he's still holding those. He is holding those valuable commodities. So yeah, stay in there, Merkel. But yeah, there's a lot of clowns closing in. Let's see. Oh yes, in other news, Joker the criminal remains unconscious, which is potentially crippling for the Joker crew. He is the boss, and all of a sudden, Nightwing's dashing foray into Joker territory seems to be paying off dividends, as that will leave a lot of the henchmen outside of inspiration range, and Joker the comedian I don't think he can take control whilst Joker the criminal is still on the board, so yeah, he won't be able to take over as hidden boss. Because of that, that's nasty. That's going into turn 3. That's a problem for the Joker, but they have been scoring nonetheless. So let's see what goes on for them. Okay, what cards did score? Well, for the Joker crew, Let's Dance definitely scored for 2 points, because they took some thwacking, and for the Batman crew's part, Die Hard scored because what's his name, Lorida's still alive, and the snitch over there was not even close to being, well, closed in on by the Joker, so another 3 points for that one too. So nice stuff. Okay, we're at the halfway point in terms of turns, but yeah, we're going to go into the 3rd turn now, where I think things are going to start speeding up a bit in terms of, because models are going to start being picked up, I guess. I hypothesize. Yes, into the take the lead and raise the plan phases of turn 3. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Only one card played in either of those phases. Psychopaths for the Joker's crew. We have seen this before. They need to cause, well, there needs to be some damage, and they're well set up to do so. Well, to have some done one way or the other, either to them or by them. In terms of initiative, Batman crew easily got it. They had a whole bucket of passes left over, and they probably maintained doing so regardless. The next thing that happened is, oh yes, Audacity. Easy enough to do. Lorida, Merkel, Batman, and Nightwing over there all have Audacity. Unfortunately, that leaves Agent 2 over here without, but he is inspired by the Batman's presence, so we'll see if that works out for him in the long run. Cool, right, I think we are ready to go in. Of course, like as always, the Joker's crew manages to continue to put its Audacity out as needed. Okay, right, into activations, turn 3. Well, we start with Nightwing, since he was about to probably get shot to bits by this guy. And yeah, so what he did was, he first of all, well, They Won't See Me Coming was played as a resource to get him an additional manipulate action, which he used to pop down a suspect marker, but not any old suspect marker, a snitch in a location where the Joker crew will probably not, well, simply just not be able to get to by the end of the turn. So that's a nice one. He then moved using his prodigious movement into contact with this clown, paramilitary clown, and then KO'd him in yes, in no uncertain terms, very much KO'd. So there you go. Nightwing continues to be a thorn in the Joker crew's side. I don't know if you can see him, but Joker, the comedian, activated next. He was over here. He took on one of the Audacity counters, as is his right, and he used a special action to use his one-shot gun on Officer Merkel and blew him away with a 2, of all things, which not only did it drop the valuable commodities again, seasoning the mix came out for a second time. A second poison model has been offed, so 2 points there. Oof. And then he used his that was his special action. He then used his shooting action, his tactical action, to try and blind Batman with the he wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. It would have been funny. He tried to blind him with a flash on his camera, but I just remembered this Batman is immune to flash, because he's dead, undead apparently. Anyway, he then moved over here and just cowered fitfully over here, just out of Batman punching range. So yeah, that's him done. And yeah, that's that. We're going to leave it right there for the Joker the Clown. Comedian. Well, far from the madding crowd of all this noise going on over here, Agent 2 was activated. He popped himself down. He was inspired by the Batman's presence. That lovely 12-inch inspiration bubble, so useful. He popped down another suspect marker just there. Nice and simple. And that concludes his activation. This Joker's Paramilitary is up next, and he popped down. He moved over here. He took a point of Audacity out of the pool to use a manipulate action to put down a suspect marker, and it's a stinky fish with it doesn't look fresh. So there you go. He's closing in on Agent 2 there, but yeah, he's playing the suspect game for now. Lorida activated again. He had Audacity, used his back claw to grapple over to the top of this rooftop, and then used his assault gun, custom assault gun, to shoot down at the Joker comedian. Joker the comedian, sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And he used non-lethal ammo, a card which has proven pretty good today. For 2 victory points, he got 2 hits, so it does score. And with the stun damage, could have done the blood damage, it would have been perfectly viable, but with stun damage, with the Batman around and Nightwing, that does leave the comedian very much looking over his shoulder at the, rather than having it split between the 2 values. He's now quite badly damaged for the amount that the 2 principal Batman crew models can deal. So there you go, and that concludes Lorida's activation. Over to the Joker. Okay, the clown with the chainsaw activated next. He was over here. He's just in inspiration range from the albeit knocked out Joker. He put down a suspect marker which he turned into another set of exploding teeth. They've obviously got their pockets bulging with these today. Only a short timer on it as well. He then ran over to Batman with his chainsaw swinging and put in extra effort to do it, but unfortunately it just wasn't to be. The Batman easily ducked and weaved and dived and dodged all those chainsaw swings, just the 3 effort to show for it, and on the chainsaw guy's part as well. So there you go. He did have a pick up the valuable commodities on the way past, because they're useful to have, and deny them to the Batman. Right, that's it for him. Over to finish off the Batman crew's activations, I guess. Well, Death Metal Batman did round things off in style. He was over here first of all. He's a dirty fighter. He can play his guitar in close combat, and so he did as a projectile weapon, which then uses the big old teardrop size template, which obliterated not only the guy who was in combat with, doing 1 hit which knocked him out, but also causing 2 hits on the Joker's victim, which caused 4 points of stun damage, and destroyed and blew and just obliterated the zombie thing, I guess. And yeah, so that's that. He then moved into contact with the newly placed set of exploding teeth and then revealed them, not worrying about the explosion for 1 point of blood. He's not too fussed about that. But yeah, so revealing the suspect marker, it exploded, but he counted as revealing it, which allowed him to play comb through everything for 2 points, lets him cycle the deck. It does mean that Bite the Dust scores for Joker, but it let him cycle the deck a bit more, and he had some cards in mind that he wanted. So overall, he considers it worthwhile. It was probably going to hit someone anyway, so might as well do it early. Right, that's him done. One thing I could have done, which I forgot, entirely forgot, to be honest, I'd said that the Joker over here ran away out of bashing reach. That's not strictly speaking true. Whilst over here, Batman could have used one of his power supply, which he has ample of, to get a +4 inches movement, which would have easily got him in. But I remember that just halfway through his activation, so it would have been unfair to have said he can't do it only to then actually do it. You know, I just thought it would be unfair. Since I'm playing both sides, it's just one of those details that gets overlooked. They're gonna happen, you know. And yeah, it allowed him to do what he wanted to do, and he got to play his guitar. So rather than running over there and bashing Joker, he did that. Okay, because I basically forgot he could do it before, you know, realizing he could. Right, that's him done. Oh, and he picked up the valuable commodities. So these lovely banknotes are in Batman's pockets, just where they belong. Okay, the remainder of the turn's activations have mostly been Joker's clowns failing to get into close combat in the case of the Joker's victims, but they are getting closer. But yes, Hobo Clown activated finally, took the last audacity point, popped down a suspect marker around the corner from Batman, and scored Let Them In on the joke for one last time, I think, for the Joker. I think that's all of them out now. But 2 points is 2 points is 2 points, so lovely jubbly. That it concludes. Oh no, there's one more model, Ace of Spades. Let's see what he's going to do. And well, hang on, let's see. He hasn't got audacity because I forgot to give it to him. He's just going to move. Let's see. Ooh, let's just move that. Well, I can't measure it. He's only got 8 inches, so chances are he's just going to move. I'm just going to pop him over here. I know that's not quite measuring it, but that's about 8. I've got a measured eye, you know. And that's him done. Okay, that's all the activations for the turn done. And yeah, we'll go on to the recount phase now. Hope you don't mind that last impromptu move. It just took me by surprise, and I wanted to get it done without too much further ado. Right, things to relate. Okay, first of all, who came back round from being KO'd in the recount phase? Joker the criminal finally did, yes, so he'll be available for the last turn, albeit knocked down and on 1 point of stun damage left. Joker's paramilitary up here also came around. Kind of unwise in front of Nightwing, but hey. The Joker with the clown, sorry, with the chainsaw is remaining down and out, wisely probably. So there you go. That's it for that kind of thing in terms of damage tracking, etc. Who scored what? Well, the Snitch easily scored there for the Batman crew. Nice. Joker's paramilitary popped down. Hang on, let's see if I can get a decent angle. Here we go. That fish marker is still very much there, so it doesn't look fresh. Scores for 2 for the Joker. And Psychopaths played at the beginning of the turn, does score again, lots of damage this turn, not many suspects. So there you go, good scores both sides. Right, that's it. I'm going to move into the last turn now, so you can eke out those last few points. Everyone's very embroiled, so we'll see what happens, okay? But just one more thing, sorry, I forgot to say, from the hand, Secure the Perimeter was played by the Batman crew for 2 points by removing the 2 suspect markers up there along the edge. I meant to say that, I forgot, sorry, it was in my hand, it was just out of sight and out of mind for a second. Now we're moving on to turn 4. Okay, into the last turn and some stuff to say. Batman crew in the take the lead phase won the initiative. Once again, it's easy. They've got so many passes in this game, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion unless some really drastic dice rolls came up one way or the other. Right, so cards played. None by the Batman crew in either 2 phases. Psychopaths was played once again by the Joker crew for 3 potential there. And yes, in terms of audacity, every model on the Batman crew got audacity because there were 4 of them left. So Batman, Agent 2, Nightwing, and Lorida up there. Otherwise, that's it. Nothing else to convey at this point, except that it's Batman to go first, and we'll see what he's up to. Well, the Batman crew started with Lorida. He was up here. He made a simple. He had audacity, of course. He just popped himself down here, having hopped down. It's easier going down than up, so there you go. He then used his melee attack to punch the Joker back into unconsciousness for the 3rd time this game. I hope Joker sees the funny side of this, but being the criminal, maybe he won't. So yeah, that knocked him out. And then with his special action, I bought Lorida handcuffs at the beginning of the game out of purchasable war gear, so he can pick him up with an arrest action. Nice. Having done that, he played Get Them Off the Streets for 3 gorgeous points. Arrest a model, 3 points. There you go. Nice scores for the end of the game at the Batman crew. Well, Hobo Clan activated next. He's actually the new boss, the hidden boss, as it were. Joker, the comedian, becomes the new boss automatically in the event of one of the others getting, well, ousted, shall we say. Not only that, he gets an extra point of willpower, hurrah, and he doesn't halve his inspire range either. So he was able to inspire Hobo Clown, who was moved over and popped down a suspect marker, which is a stinky fish, for it doesn't look fresh. So yeah, that's as far away as Hobo Clown could get. So safest place he could just about be. Okay, so that concludes this clown's activation. Back to the Batman crew. Well, Nightwing continuing his strong claim for most valuable player of the day. He activated from up here. First of all, They Won't See Me Coming was played as a resource again to give him an additional manipulate action. So he then he's activated his Bat Claw to pop down here. Then he used Always on the Move to knock out this Joker again on the way out. He's probably getting used to knocking out Jokers, but yeah, it was an obliterating round of attacks. Horrible stuff. 10 points of stun damage. He then finished his movement off over here and used his free manipulate to pop down the suspect marker, which you can see is a snitch. So there you go. 3 points. A very valuable Joker model out of the game for the rest of it. And yeah, that's that. Whew. Nasty stuff. Don't mess with Nightwing. You can't just kill Nightwing if you can. Just kill him. A couple of activations to relate now. The Joker crew just moved this victim down here just to try and run down the clock, but then the Batman crew activated with Death Metal Batman himself. He just walked around the corner and then laid into the unconscious Joker, the comedian, back here. He's got some beef with this guy specifically after what happened to Barbara Gordon, and yes, mashed him up good and proper. So took him out of the game permanently, slow, and that means he could play back to Arkham, make model boss KO, or move it as a casualty for 3 points. The Batman crew really turning the screws in this last part of the game. Okay, moving back to Joker, see if they can eke out any more points. Yes, the pretty bloodthirsty, what's his name? Joker's Paramilitary with the Kukri activated, went straight into Agent 2 and had a couple of attack counters I forgot to mention from before from a Psychopath's resource that I played when someone got damaged. So yeah, he had 2 extra attack markers, he used them. His Kukri's amazing, it's handy and heavy and sharp, so yeah, lots of rerolls. And yeah, it had a really good set of rolls, did 5 points of damage, which is sufficient to kill Agent 2, which takes him out of the game before he gets to activate this turn. Which, yes, so that's that. There's another point onto the Psychopath's scoring card from the beginning of the turn. That's nice. And yeah, that's pretty much the Batman crew's activations over for the game, because he was the last model to go. So yeah, we're just gonna have a quick look around, see if the Joker can score any more cards, cycle his deck at all anymore, and yeah, if so, well, I'll report back either way in just a second. Okay, well, having actually had a look through, there's actually nothing that the Joker can do to score any more cards from his hand, nothing he can do to cycle any more into his hand, pretty much short of cards altogether, to be perfectly honest, not much to cycle into or out of her. So yeah, we've just gone to the Recount Phase. Right, so for the Joker's part, both of his cards, the Psychopaths and also the Stinky Fish, they doesn't look fresh, both score. The fish is there, and there's still plenty more damage done than suspect marker use in the turn. For the Batman crew, snitch scores from Nightwing over there, and valuable commodities at the end of the game does score because Batman is holding on to them and he was never going to give them up. Okay, having passed through multiple hands during the course of the game. Right, so that's it. Whoa, that's a high scoring game on both sides, I can tell. Neither side has much in the way left in their deck, but we'll see who that favours, you know, when I come to do the final score in just a second. Okay, here I am with the final scores. Carnage on the board. There's actually more models left than I thought there would be, but some telling models were taken off over the course. The Batman crew lost all of its supporting policemen. Meanwhile, the Joker lost all 3 of the Jokers. So yeah, bit of a mixed bag, shall we say. But let's see who won, because it's down to the scores. And here we go. Who am I holding? I'm holding the Batman crew's cards first. So here we go. So we're starting with 2. I'll see if I can get them in a better focus here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39 scored. That's a mighty score there. Lots of cards came in, especially at the end there. Lots of threes coming up towards the end. Okay, well, got the Joker pile here. Let's see what they can do. Got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 30, 33, 35 scored. Wow, that's close. 35 to 39 in Batman's favour though, so it's Batman takes it today. Yeah, well, what do I think? Death Metal Batman is a very different way to play for the Batman crew. You just stride him up the middle and just hope people get in his way, because he is lethal with that guitar. And being immune to most of the effects as well, he didn't have to worry about poison or blind, and he'll be immune to a bunch of other things that enemies throw at him as well. That's really handy, really good. Just being able to ignore status ailments is amazingly good. But what else? Yeah, the Jokers, the 3 Jokers, what I think of them, very interesting. I don't think I got a really good taste, so to speak, of as to what they can do this time, because with this particular deployment, when you're in opposite corners, there's so much space between you both crews even, that the first turn, maybe turn and a half, 2 turns, can be spent just trying to get towards each other. And with support characters, you don't really get to use, most of them are quite short range, you don't get to mess around with your opponent too much. But nonetheless, the 3 Jokers definitely moving the exploding teeth around great. Certainly, gained a couple of points at least for that there. A lot of these, and the Joker the criminal didn't get a chance to do anything at all really. He was KO'd turn 1 and spent 3 out of 4 turns knocked out, just trying to get away from Nightwing. So yeah, he had a bad run. That Tommy gun though marks him out as a target because it's so dangerous. I've played Two-Face enough times to know how powerful Tommy guns are. Speaking of Nightwing, yes, we like this version of Nightwing very much. Always on the move is brilliant, especially in conjunction with a bat claw as well. And yeah, I think Shadowed Nightmare means your opponent's always guessing where he's going to come out, and he's solid. Just don't do what I almost did and get him killed turn 1 or 2 by jumping into the middle of the enemy crew. It's try if you can avoid that. The more turns he's active, the more of an active annoyance and threat he'll be as the game starts to break up, and he can really start stretching his legs with that movement speed, and those twin sticks is just disgustingly useful. Yeah, KOing a model a turn, just nothing to be sniffed at. I'm really impressed by these models. It's certainly fun to play the 3 Jokers. Don't mess around with them. It is weird though, only one of them being the leader. So because you feel like, oh, it's Joker, he'll give inspire to the henchmen, but no, they don't. Only one of them does, of course, and you've got to look after that one, which I didn't do, and that ultimately I think cost the Joker, because there was a lot of frustration I was feeling about audacity and things. With this number of models in the crew, you don't want to be worrying about where your actions are coming from, because you've got a lot of models to worry about. But yeah, overall, I hope you enjoyed this game. I really did. It was a great different way to play both of these crews, and I hope it showed out in the course of the video. If there's anything that I missed or anything that you think I could have done better, let me know, or anything you particularly liked, any crews you'd like to see, what have you. I got most of them, pretty much all of them really, and I hope to hear from you in the comments or whatnot, because it's always fun to see feedback, even annoying feedback. Nah, kidding. Just say whatever you want, it's great. And thank you very much for your time. I'm going to shoot off. I'm Shieldwall 100, and I shall see you for more battle reports in the future. Take care everyone, and goodbye.